My name is Dr. Wang. I'm a professor in the Department of Physics at NC State University in Raleigh, North Carolina. My dissertation research focuses on atomic force microscope imaging of protein and DNA complexes. My current work now focuses on single molecule studies of DNA repair. Throughout training in the past 20 years by many mentors, I was able to show how DNA repair proteins recognize and repair DNA lesions at the single molecule level. I should say, overall, I'm very lucky. Since high school, I have had great mentors and teachers. I was interested in biology, physics, and math when I was in high school. But I didn't know what I could do for a long time. I actually took a long detour to get what I'm here right now. I studied material science when I was in China for my undergraduate degree. I was a poor engineer. Then I came to US to study at UNC Chapel Hill, where I majored in material science again. I couldn't make things better, but luckily, I got to meet my PhD advisor, Dorothy Erin. She guided me into the biophysics field. And now overall, I think I'm really lucky being able to do what I really want to do. And I can be proud of what I can contribute to science, which is how protein repair DNA damage to prevent cancer and slow aging. I was pregnant with twins when I was in graduate school, which caused a lot of challenges for me in terms of meeting my research goals as a graduate student. I just couldn't physically do things a graduate student should do. I entered graduate school in 98 and found out I was pregnant in early 2000. At that time, I was still taking classes. One day, when I was in a class, I had morning sickness. I was vomiting in the class, and that shocked the whole class. Then I found out I was not only pregnant, but pregnant with twins. The fetal protein level in my blood was 2 times over what it should be. One possibility was that the spine or the skull of the baby wasn't closed, which was very scary. My doctor scheduled the ultrasound for me. The ultrasound showed there were 2 babies. After that, I decided to go to the international center because I was on an F1, and the person I talked to at the center told me that I had to drop out from graduate school because I was pregnant with twins. I remember the person saying, you just couldn't finish your graduate school because now you are pregnant with twins. And that comment made me even more scared. I was so scared I went to see my PhD mentor, Dorothy Erie, at UNC Chapel Hill right away. I told her, Dorothy, I'm pregnant. And she said, oh, so what? In her office, she has, the poster from the World War II, Rosie the Revolter. And then I said, Dorothy, I'm pregnant with twins. And she said, so what? He didn't hesitate to say that at all. She fully believed in me, even at the very beginning of my graduate study. I continued to work in the lab, but it was becoming more and more difficult. When my babies were delivered, one was 9 pounds, another one was 6 pounds. They were pretty big. When I was pregnant, at one point I couldn't see my feet. I couldn't bend down. My hands were so swollen. The tubes in my hands constantly fell off. And the other graduate student working behind me, Ryan, helped me to pick them up and didn't say anything. So people in the lab were very supportive. I work in the chemistry department because Dorothy is a faculty in the chemistry department at UNC Chapel Hill. It is an 8-story building. I believe that was built in the 70s. There was only one woman's bathroom every other floor, and I couldn't go up and down the stairs. At the end of my pregnancy, I had to take the elevator, and people saw me in the elevator every hour. From my own experience, I see that for women to stay in science, there need to be structures to support them, including simple things like a bathroom on the same floor or a lactation room. After I gave birth to my boys, I stayed home during the day, but I was still trying to get the experiments going. I was so eager to get back to the lab because Dorothy was so supportive. I live in the student dorm on campus. UNC had a shuttle service, so I took the shuttle after dinner, after I fed my boys, then go to the lab. It took me about 5 minutes to get to the lab. I couldn't imagine if, for example, I lived 20 minutes away. In that case, I might not be able to finish my graduate study. I was trying so hard to be productive after I delivered my boys. Looking back, for the first year, I wasn't able to achieve much. Looking back now, I think we just need to be more patient and look at the outcome in the long term. What stressed me the most at that time was a guilty feeling. This is very common for women in science. When we are at work, we have a guilty feeling of, I should be with my children at this time. Then we thought about experiments when we are at home. I hope the next generation women scientists will have a more balanced way of making work-life balance and see work and parenting as integrated parts of a whole person. During that time, when I was in graduate school, I had a lot of stress and an acute feeling of not being able to go to the lab like other graduate students. I think at that point, I was feeling shameful and inadequate. I felt I was so far behind compared to other students. Other students were in the lab working all the time, and I was at home a lot of times. That was a major mental stress for me. Looking back, I think the best way to deal with these challenges was to go by day. If I was able to finish something, even though it was a little, that helped me to see that I'm going somewhere. For example, while I was on the bed rest, we were writing a paper with another group, and they were waiting for me to finish up my part. I couldn't sit up at that time. I was lying on the bed the whole day. My husband had to come back during lunch to bring me food because I couldn't get off the bed to go to the fridge to grab my own food. So I was lying down typing on my computer. It took me a whole week to write just one figure, legend, and one short paragraph of the result session. Sometimes you cannot see the future, but even the progress is slow, it is important to remember that you will get there sometime in the future. Again, I want to mention I was very lucky. Dorothy was so supportive throughout my graduate study. When I was on bed rest at home, she never asked me about work. She never pushed me. That was such deep trust in me. She saw that if I was able to, I would finish what I need to do without her asking me. That was 100% trust in me. Later on, that trust from her would become my own drive to deal with new challenges. Being a mom allows me to pay attention to more detail and to be more organized for personal growth. I think being a mom also helped me to be a more mature scientist. Being a mom also made me more resourceful. I couldn't go to the lab during the day, for example, because I needed to take care of my boys. So I looked up and found the shuttle service on UNC campus. So when I was in graduate school, for the later part, after I delivered my boys, I would take the shuttle and go to lab to image samples at night. At that time, the AFM wasn't stable. I had to stay in the lab and constantly change the set point. I slept on the couch in the lab. I had a timer and woke up every hour or two. So with this determination, I was able to have publications, one first author publications and several co-author publications during graduate school. I think this experience teach me that sometimes we just need to learn to work differently. When students choose a mentor, one important factor is to find out how supportive the mentor is for his or her own graduate student or postdocs. Mentors can be lifelong support. For example, for me, even though there were many chalk talks in the institute that I worked for, I never went once before my own job interview. So when I started my own job search for a tenure track position, I called up Dorothy to get help. We were on the phone for hours. She basically coached me through the whole job interview process. So picking a supportive mentor is very important. Once a student enters a lab, in addition to one primary mentor, I would suggest to build relationship with multiple professors in the department or on the campus. This is very important because you can learn different perspectives from different people. Thank you for watching Feel Safe Science. My name is Hong, and I hope my story helps graduate students feel less alone. Thank you for watching.